宇宙刑事ギャバン
In the 1970s, Japan's popular culture saw the rise of the transforming hero led by Kamen Rider and the Ultra series with Return of Ultraman. It was a decade filled with experimentation that took viewers on countless adventures with a wide range of Tokusatsu heroes who fought for justice. But as the decade started coming to a close, shifts in entertainment preferences started to impact the popularity of these programs. The arrival of movies like Star Wars and Close Encounters of the Third Kind to Japanese cinemas in 1978 had a massive impact on the domestic entertainment industry and consumer preferences. This led to major Japanese studios making investments in science fiction-oriented productions that took inspiration from these films. Some notable examples include Toho Studios' The War in Space. This film, which was produced in 1977 to capitalize on the upcoming release of Star Wars in Japan, took cues from several key visuals from Star Wars, with a strong emphasis on spaceship battles, characters that are reminiscent of ones in the Western film, and some of its most memorable scenes. In 1978, Toei produced Message from Space, which was intended as a direct competitor to Star Wars according to then Toei president Shigeru Okada. Like The War in Space, this movie took a lot of inspiration from Star Wars, including its visual design, settings, sword fights, and spaceship battles, which included its own version of a trench run during the film's climax. The film's domestic and global success also led to a 27-episode sequel TV series that took place 100 years after the movie's conclusion. Tsuburaya Productions also tried to take advantage of the popularity of Star Wars through its 15th anniversary work, Star Wolf. Running for 24 episodes in 1978, this TV series also mimicked several aspects of Star Wars' visual presentation and art style with X-Wing-like ships, lightsabers, and scenes that recall key moments from Star Wars. The collective influence of these works on Japan's pop culture scene will lead to many new programs, movies, and manga being produced to further capitalize on this revamped interest in science fiction-based stories. This trend would continue into the early 1980s, eventually leading to the creation of a new hero, one that could even surpass Kamen Rider. In March 1981, Ultraman 80 completed its TV broadcast. While the program had a 50-episode run, its low ratings and conflicts between Tsuburaya Productions and production partner TBS resulted in the Ultraman series going into a 15-year-long television hiatus. This was followed by Kamen Rider Super 1's final broadcast on October 1981, and like Ultraman 80, the last episode of Super 1 led to a significant break in the Kamen Rider series, which would not return to television until 1987. This left only 2 live-action special effect programs on the air in 1981, Taiyo Sentai Son Vulcan and Robot 8-chan, which would go on to become the first entry in the Toei Fushigi comedy series. This created a perfect opportunity to introduce a new hero with no ties to existing franchises or characters, one that could be unlike anything before it. A metallic, robot-like figure holding a sword standing in front of a space base. This illustration by Katsushi Murakami, who at the time was leading toy manufacturers Poppy's planning office, would become the inspiration and catalyst for this new hero. After seeing this illustration, Toei producer Susumu Yoshikiwa was inspired and decided that this was the direction they would take to build a new property that could surpass Kamen Rider. As production ramped up, screenwriter Jozo Uehara was tapped to lead writing for this new series. Jozo, who had previously worked on numerous Tsuburaya and Toei Tokusatsu hero programs, would take inspiration from one of his previous works, Super Lady, Queen of the Galaxy, to establish the setting for this new series. Super Lady, Queen of the Galaxy was a short-lived, 5-chapter-long supplement manga that was published in TV-kun in 1978. Its story focused on Ryusei Hikaru, a model and reporter who can transform into her powerful alter ego using a special pendant. This device was given to her by Voicer, her father and the director of the Galactic Federation Police. She has been given a mission to protect Earth from the Welder aliens who are trying to invade the planet. The manga would follow Hikaru's adventures as she took on various adversaries and schemes with her powers and special vehicles. Super Lady, Queen of the Galaxy's story and framework would serve as a foundation for this new series setting, which would also center on a member of a space-based police organization tasked with protecting peace across the universe. With a general sense of the new program's setting now locked in, a name for this new hero started to come together: Space Sheriff Z. The letter Z became a key aspect of the character's identity, with it being attached to a signature move, the Laser Z beam, and weaved into his armor's design. But as production work continued, the name evolved, finally settling on Space Sheriff Gavan. This new name was taken from the French actor Jean Gavan, which was used to avoid running into trademark issues with existing names. Kenji Oba, who previously appeared in Battle Fever J and Denji Man, was cast as the series' protagonist. As a proven performer in these types of programs and a veteran member of the Japan Action Club, an organization dedicated to training performers in stunt and action work, the actor was uniquely positioned for this role and the ambitions for this new series. Other cast members included veteran actor Toshiaki Nishizawa, who played Commander Kum. Kyoko Nashiro played the commander's secretary, Marine, and Wakiko Kano took on the role of Gavan's assistant, Mimi. This core group was supported by several other well-known actors of the time, as well as newcomers. Designs and illustrations by Ryu Noguchi would give the series a unique and highly stylized presentation that was so successful, the artist would go on to become a key contributor to many of Toei's Tokusatsu hero programs following Space Sheriff Gavan. Legendary music composer Shumei Watanabe contributed several compositions to the series. This included a few melodies that were so memorable and unique, the composer will go on to repurpose them in future works at the behest of numerous program producers. This included the sequel series to Space Sheriff Gavan, Lightspeed Electroid Albegas, Lexarion, and Dangayo. As these pieces started to fall into place, the vision for the new program became clearer and investments in the production grew. This included series director Yoshiaki Kobayashi's decision to use futuristic-looking backdrops to drive the sense of this show being bigger and bolder than anything that's come before it. It also included the hero's armor, which was produced through a new at-the-time process that resulted in a plated, highly reflective metallic finish that was unlike anything in Toei's previous programs. It was so mirror-like that Toei's team had to limit its use to specific scenes and supplement the rest of the filming process with variations of the suit that were less reflective. But even with the less reflective materials, Gavan's armor still reflected a significant portion of the surrounding environment. This led to the introduction of Maku Space as a setting for the more intense action scenes in each episode. These allowed the production team to work around the challenges posed by the armor with fewer compromises than scenes filmed outdoors. Finally, the character was given a space-themed arsenal to help further differentiate it from Toei's other series. These included the super-dimensional Lightspeed ship Dolgaran, which operates as Gavan's mobile base. The lower part of the Dolgaran can also separate and become the electronic starpiece Dol, which is designed to look like a blue dragon. In situations where Gavan needs to pursue his opponents, he can summon Cytherian, a personal vehicle that can travel on the ground or through the air. Its unique design was intended to visually separate Gavan from the motorcycles and cars generally used in Toei's other hero programs. And for more specialized situations, Gavan can also summon the heavy tank Gavion. This vehicle also contains a separate, smaller drilling vehicle, Scooper. After months of preparation, Space Sheriff Gavan finally started its television broadcast on TV Asahi on March 5, 1982. Over the course of its 44-episode run, it averaged a viewership rating of 14.9%, a remarkable success that led to a sequel series and over time, a new hero franchise for Toei, the Metal Hero series. Gavan's story opens with news of Earth's first space colony. Its completion will herald an era of prosperity for humanity and a path to a new space age. But with unknowns to Earth scientists and defense forces, a rift in space has appeared nearby. Inside of it is the space crime organization Maku. The head of this organization, Don Horror, has declared to his followers that Earth must be colonized. Their goal will be to steal Earth's resources, corrupt humans, and ultimately turn it into a planet filled with crime. To kickstart this mission, Don Horror commands his forces to destroy the Earth's new space colony. This is followed by multiple attacks throughout Earth, including Tokyo, where the Maku is building secret underground bases to store their weapons and stage their attacks from. This led to their ships being spotted and identified as UFOs by everyday people who didn't realize that they were part of an invasion force. In reaction to this intrusion by Don Horror and his forces, the Galactic Union Police Force deploys Space Sheriff Gavan to Earth with a special mission to repel the Maku and protect Earth from their plans to turn it into a planet of crime. He will also use this opportunity to investigate what happened to Earth's previous and now missing Space Sheriff, Voicer, who is also Gavan's father. Accompanied by his helper Mimi and supported remotely from Planet Bird by Commander Com and his assistant Marine, Space Sheriff Gavan will leverage several advanced weapon systems in his fight against the Maku organization. Throughout his journey on Earth, he would also gain multiple allies who would help him in his fight and provide support in challenging missions. This included UFO reporter Kojiro Oyama, Kosuke Fuji, who owns the Avalon Horse Club where Gavan works undercover, and Tsukiko Hoshino, his adopted sister. Gavan's storyline can be broken up into two primary arcs. The first one takes place between episodes 1 and 30. During this phase, the story focuses on the rivalry between Gavan and Hunter Killer, an ex-space sheriff who betrayed the Galactic Police, and Voicer, who was his assigned partner. Gavan believed that his father died in the line of duty, but over the course of this arc, Hunter Killer teases Gavan with information that points to his father being alive. This is confirmed by Commander Com, who confirms Voicer went missing after Hunter Killer betrayed him and joined with Don Horror. In episode 11, Gavan confirms that his father is on Earth after locating the remains of his ship and learning from Tsukiko how Voicer helped her father with his experiments. But the trail goes cold after Hunter Killer threatens Gavan that he will be keeping his father as a hostage. Gavan and Hunter Killer would keep fighting against each other following this, but eventually their rivalry will come to an end in episode 30. In this episode, Don Horror's son, Sandorba, is introduced and immediately takes command of the Earth invasion operation. Humiliated by this, Hunter Killer uses a special Space Sheriff encryption code to send a secret message to Gavan. It contains a clue for how to defeat Sandorban. Following Sandorba's defeat by Gavan, it's revealed that Hunter Killer had spied on him and sent Gavan secret information on how to defeat him. This leads to Hunter Killer being shot by Don Horror and expelled into outer space as a punishment. This leads to the end of Hunter Killer's main storyline within the series, but not his final appearance. The second story arc starts with episode 30 and would continue through the end of the series. There are two major changes during this portion of the story. The first one is the shift in antagonist, with Sandorba and his mom, Witch Kiba, taking over Hunter Killer's role. This made for an expanded view into the Maku organization, as this new duo schemes in greater detail and more publicly than Hunter Killer. It also allows for Don Horror to have a greater role in these episodes, as he frequently consults with them on new plans and scolds them when they fail. Plus, his role as Sandorba's father makes for a different character dynamic than the one he had with Hunter Killer. The other change in this phase of the series is that Mimi returns to Planet Bird to take care of her mother who has fallen ill. To fill this gap and ensure Gavan has the support he needs, Marine steps in as the Space Sheriff's helper on Earth. They will be rejoined by Mimi in episode 42. She then reveals that the Galactic Police found Hunter Killer drifting through space and is now interrogating him for information on Voicer. Commander Quam, who is carrying out the interrogation, finally gets the information they've been looking for, a confirmation that Voicer is alive, his location, and the Maku's ultimate scheme, Plan X, which requires secret information only Voicer has. Plan X centers on a planetary space cannon that is capable of blowing up planets, but in order to complete this weapon, Sandorba needs the plans for the laser enhancement system from Voicer, who they have been unable to break for this information. This leads to Gavan searching for Voicer in numerous places. After a failed search in an abandoned underground base, a clue leads to Maku's Onikubi base, where he finally finds his father in an underground cell. The reunion would be short-lived though, as Voicer dies shortly after his rescue. After disrupting Plan X, Gavan sets off on a final mission to stop the Maku and protect the Earth from their conquest plans. This leads to individual duels with Sandorba and Witch Kiba, whose defeat opened a path to the Maku's ship and Don Horror. Gavan initially struggles against Don Horror's incredible powers, but slowly he is able to overcome them, which allowed the Space Sheriff to use the Gavan dynamic attack to put an end to Don Horror and the Maku organization. His long battle is finally over. While the Maku have been defeated, the Galactic Police remain vigilant against other threats against Earth and the solar system. So to expand their operations, Gavan is promoted to captain of the Galactic Patrol and a new Space Sheriff is assigned to Earth, Sharaban. This leads to the end of Gavan's story and the beginning of the Space Sheriff trilogy. During the planning stage of Space Sheriff Gavan, the TV Asahi network set high expectations for the program. The time allotted to this new hero series was previously the home to several magical girl anime series that proved popular for their TV stations. Switching this for a live-action hero program was a significant gamble. Toei's team and actor Kenji Oba rose to this challenge, delivering a high-value, dynamic TV series packed with explosive action and attention-grabbing stunts. This resulted in the new series consistently scoring top ratings for this time slot and generating enthusiastic support from its target demographic. The program's distinctive presentation, action-heavy stories, and inventive concepts went beyond the conventions of the Super Sentai and Kamen Rider series, establishing a modern approach for special effect hero programs. A great example of this is Gavan's transformation process, which breaks away from the way these sequences were presented in past programs by elevating the theatricality associated with it. When Gavan transforms, it's presented to the viewer as something that happens instantly after he calls for his armor, but then the narrator emerges to explain to the viewers the process behind it, inviting us to see exactly how he transformed in a fraction of a second thanks to the special electroplating process that takes place when the suit's particles are transmitted from the Dahlgren spaceship. This sequence evolves over the course of the series, with early episodes presenting the transformation in a static situation, but eventually evolving to showing it against the context of an action sequence, like in episode 31 when he transforms mid-air while jumping towards a roller coaster. This presentation of the transformation process was inspired by the historical drama Nihon Kenkakuden, which was Gavan producers Susumu Yoshikawa's first program as a producer. In it, Japanese swordman Miyamoto Musashi was shown quickly cutting down enemies with his sword, which was followed by a slow-motion presentation of his attacks. Gavan's transformation would then be followed by a long series of high-value action scenes that would take the Space Sheriff from traditional settings like the quarry and seaports to surreal ones inside Maku space. These action scenes would consistently exceed the scale and spectacle of the Kamen Rider and Super Sentai programs of this period. For example, these scenes from episode 15 showcasing actor Kenji Ova's skills as a stunt performer, jumping from the top of a building to swinging between structures like Toei's Spider-Man, or this spectacular scene from episode 17 where he jumps side by side with a car, plummeting down to the bottom of the quarry, or this moment from episode 35 where he swings under a massive bridge and avoids an explosion mid-air. The production team also applied this approach to Gavan's special effects scenes, which leveraged new video production technologies to elevate the presentation of Gavan's attacks and finishing techniques. Two examples include his signature attacks, the Laser Z Beam and the Laser Blade. The Laser Blade would be illuminated during its use in a way that was reminiscent of Star Wars lightsabers. This effect would be further augmented when Gavan used the Laser Blade to deliver his finisher attack, Gavan Dynamic. Against a dark backdrop, while wearing the most reflective model of his armor, the Laser Blade would illuminate brightly to deliver a devastating final attack. The combination of Gavan's high production value, show-stopping stunts, and the performance of its cast made the program a breakout hit for Toei and its production partners. This included the TV Asahi network, which took a gamble on the program on a time slot that for several years had been dedicated to Magical Girl series. But thanks to how well Gavan was received, the green light was given to a sequel series midway through the program's broadcast. This led to the introduction of Den Iga in episode 42 as a character who was protecting animals from poachers in the mountains. After being injured by Buffalo Doppler, he's taken to Planet Bird for medical treatment. He is then reintroduced in episode 44 as Earth's new Space Sheriff, whose adventures will be chronicled in a sequel series following the end of Gavan's broadcast run. Space Sheriff Gavan was the first sequel to the universe established in the Gavan series, but it would not be the last. While Gavan was not as popular as its predecessor, it still resulted in another sequel established in the same universe, Space Sheriff Shider, effectively resulting in what is now referred to as the Space Sheriff Trilogy. Following Shider, the format established by the Space Sheriff series would be repurposed for a new series of programs that over the years would come to be known as the Metal Hero franchise, but each of these programs would take place in settings outside of Gavan's universe. After the end of Shider, the Space Sheriffs slowly vanished from the popular cultural landscape in Japan. While domestically, the characters faded into the background, it was a different story outside of Japan, where Space Sheriff Gavan found several new audiences across numerous international markets. These included the Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Hong Kong, and Brazil. The series was also particularly popular in France, where it was broadcast under the name of Exor. But beginning in the early 2000s, the characters would resurface again in Japan via multiple video games. First with co-starring roles in two separate PlayStation games between 1999 and 2000, and then in 2006 with a Gavan-focused game on the PlayStation 2, Space Sheriff Spirits. It featured an original story that brought together the three Space Sheriffs alongside many of the characters that appeared throughout each of their programs. This is followed by a Gavan-themed pachinko game in 2009, which recreated several scenes and sound effects from the TV series. To celebrate the series' 30th anniversary in 2012, two major works were produced. The first of these was Kaizoku Sentai Gokaiger vs. Space Sheriff Gavan, the movie. This was followed by Space Sheriff Gavan the movie, which commemorated the original series' 30th anniversary and served as a restart for the franchise with new characters in the previously established Space Sheriff universe. Its story centered on Geki Jumonji, an officer of the Galaxy Federal Police, who takes on the role of Space Sheriff Gavan from Red Suit. As a promotion for the film, two special appearances were produced. In the first one, the new Space Sheriff joins the Ghostbusters in episodes 31 and 32, which were broadcast a few weeks before the movie's premiere. In the second one, Gavan makes a surprise appearance in a special DVD that was included with the October issue of TV Land, Ghostbusters vs. Beatbuster vs. J. The metal hero would next appear in an unusual production. Kamen Rider Force and Space Sheriff Gavan protect the Golden Disc. This short film, which was presented across numerous science museums in Japan, teamed up Gavan and Force in a mission to protect a NASA space probe. The character would make another theatrical appearance in the 2013 film Kamen Rider Super Sentai Space Sheriff Superhero Taisen Z. In 2014, Gavan would team up with the next generation of Space Sheriffs to take on the mantle of Shariban and Scheider through two separate V-Cinema productions. And in 2017, Gavan made a special appearance in episode 18 of Q Ranger to promote a team-up movie being released a week from the broadcast, Space Sheriff Gavan vs. Deca Ranger. A sequel, Q Ranger vs. Space Squad, was released a year later, which also included an appearance by Gavan. In addition to these on-screen appearances, Space Sheriff Gavan has also been featured in numerous printed works. These included appearances in TV magazine, original works like Space Sheriff Gavan the Black Hero, and a novel that fills the gaps in the character's story during the events of the 2012 movie. And in 2022, the series finally received a North American release with a Blu-ray set published by Discotek Media with all 44 episodes. Today, the series continues to be held up as one of the biggest innovators in Japan's transforming hero programs. Its combination of high production value, episodes filled with visually exciting, stunt-focused action scenes, and a great cast add up to one of the most watched series in the Tokusatsu hero genre.